Canterbury tale, a Canterbury tale. If you accidentally get glue in your hair, use olive oil, almond oil, or baby oil to remove the glue. Saturate the areas with glue and rub it in for a few minutes. Leave the oil in your hair for a minimum of 15 minutes, and generally comb through the softened glue with a fine-tuned comb. Rinse your hair with water, then shampoo and condition your hair as usual. At least that's what our everyday life tells you to do. Best song ever. Hello there, CriterioNate here. Number 341. Michael Powell and Emmett Pressburger's A Canterbury Tale. Oh my. They're back at it again. Way better than Tales of Hoffman. And that's probably just because that's what it is. 1944, 124 minutes, black and white, blah, blah, blah. So, still not their best. I'd still say the best movie they did was probably Black Narcissus. They just nailed it with that one, I think, you know. This one's not bad, though. I think the war, I mean, it was made during the war, and so it has a very, sort of a bit of a propagandist feel to it, like military and all that. But still, it's not bad. I think just it gets a little muddled toward the end of the movie. But anyway, the plot. Basically, it's about these three people. There's a British soldier named what's his name? Oh gosh, I forgot his name. Sergeant Peter Gibbs, who's they're all, and there's a American sergeant, Bob Johnson, and what is called a land girl, Allison Smith, and they're all stationed. They all end up in the fictional town of Chillington, which I think is near Kent. And I think they're on their way. They're all on their way to Canterbury, but they all get off. They all end up in Chillington for various reasons, and I guess Bob Johnson ends up getting off by mistake because he thought that, you know, he said that Canterbury was next. The conductor, but so yeah, they all meet. They all meet at the station, and they all run off to. They all try to find a hotel. Bob Johnson, being American, doesn't understand a lot of the you know, things, the differences between how Americans, you know, the differences between Americans and Britons, and a lot of that's displayed. For instance, he doesn't understand the blackout. He doesn't understand, you know, the whole the difference between, you know, how they call drugstore owners grocers in the UK, and bevy of other things. And so yeah, so while they're on their way to the hotel, Allison gets glue in her hair. Somebody pours glue into Allison's hair, and they rush her off to the hotel, and they try to wash it out, and they find out that this isn't the first time that somebody's gotten glue in their hair. Someone, you know, they call him the Glue Man, and he's been attacking young women throughout the city or the village. And so it's they decide to team up and figure out who's behind it, and they find out that it's actually the main suspect is one of the, I forget his name. He's like a judge or something, and who kind of like takes charge of things. He's Thomas, what's his name? Culpepper, and for lack of, I'm skipping a lot, but they eventually find out that he wanted to. They end up catching the train to Canterbury. They all eventually catch up with each other, and they find out that apparently, I guess he sort of reveals on the train that he, you know, if he were to do it, I don't think he confesses to it, but apparently but I think in the end they do, you know. They do find out he did, but it's revealed that apparently he did it to keep the soldiers off their minds, like the women, so that the women wouldn't be out. You know, with the women getting glue in their hair, they have no reason to, you know, be out and distracting the soldiers and all that, and so the soldiers could keep their mind on the war and all that stuff, which is. It's like sort of a dumb. It's pretty dumb, but you know, whatever. And yeah, so basically, once they get to Canterbury, there's supposed to be this whole thing about, you know, I guess miracles coming true in Canterbury. or like wishes and all that, and everyone gets to have like their own little bit of, you know, their own little piece of heaven there, I guess. Like Canterbury seems to take on a sort of mysticism at the end of the movie. Allison's boyfriend was thought dead up until the end of the movie when she receives a telegram saying that he is still alive and asking for her, I think. There's a... I think that's what happened. Yeah, I think her father writes her and tells her that, I guess they were going to get married, but I guess he didn't want to approve the marriage, but in the end he did, and so that's how he found out, because I think he contacted her boyfriend contacted his father, and her father contacted her. I can't remember, but Bob Johnson ends up meeting up with another American soldier, and Bob Johnson had lost his had apparently, you know, been waiting on letters from his girlfriend, and he found out that she's actually a WAC now, stationed on Australia. So he's happy about that. And as far as Peter is concerned, Peter used to be Peter kind of like takes us out to the end. Peter ends up Peter used to be a cinema organist before he started in the war, and he ends up going to the Canterbury Cathedral and meeting with the organist, and the organist, you know, invites him to play something. He plays a bit of toccata and fugue in D minor, Bach, and he just continues on and starts a service, and he ends up service, and so they all find something in Canterbury to distract them and let them. I guess they end up not turning in Culpeper into the police as they were planning on doing, and that's basically it. Again, I gave this movie. I'm going to give you a rating to A-. It's a really good movie. It was very entertaining. I thought Bob Johnson's character was fantastic. He was played by a real life sergeant, Sergeant John Sweet, who's a real life sergeant in the U.S. Army, and he was so he was probably the most entertaining character just because of just the way he, sort of a stranger in a strange land kind of. Sometimes that's really entertaining, just the way he works. Those characters work through their differences with their surrounding characters. But yeah, I mean, outside of that, I think it's Powell and Pressburger. Even though they may not admit it, I think they were out to blow Britain's head off. With their movies. The Archers and all that. So again, there's not much. I don't have much else to say. But I gave it an A-. The minus is because I just feel like the ending isn't explained well enough. Culpeper just seems to get away with it, and I may be missing something. It's hard to keep track of these movies sometimes from the first view, to get everything out of a first view. Maybe I need to watch this one again. But from now, A-. It's a good movie. It's a good movie. I think Powell and Pressburger did a fantastic job on it. That being said, it sort of feels rushed at the end. The ending sort of feels like it just kind of falls apart a bit at the end. Like suddenly, like all these storylines are tied up, and yeah. So anyway, that's all I have to say about the movie. A-. Not Powell and Pressburger's best, but damn good. So disc, double disc, DVD. Disc 1, okay, the American version. So the American version, I guess, I think when the movie was first released, I guess it was deemed, Michael Powell deemed it a failure, and so he ended up, when he released it in the States, he ended up cutting out about 20 minutes of the movie and tacking on a new prologue and an epilogue, or like an ending to the film. Featuring showing that the movie was told in a flashback by Bob Johnson. He shot some new scenes with Sergeant John Sweet, with his wife, or his girlfriend, played by Kim Hunter, who is famous for playing, I think, Stella in Streetcar Named Desire. And so the two of them are visiting Canterbury years later, and he tells the story of how he found out about her corresponding and all that, how he got to Canterbury. So the whole movie's told in flashback. And at the end, when he visits the cafe where he finds out where his American friend gave him the letters, with his wife, and so or his girl. I actually don't know if they got married or not, but anyway. So yeah, interesting, but I think the movie works fine as it is, So yeah, there's that, and then so disc 2 has the rest of the supplements. There's a 20-minute new interview with Sheila Sim, who plays Allison, and there's what else? There's a short documentary, a 20-minute documentary made by Nick Burton and Eddie McMillan called The Pilgrim's Return, which is a little interview with John Sweet, who was alive at the time, back in 2001, I think it was when it was done. And just talking about his memories of making the film and all that. And, there's a new documentary called The Canterbury Trail, which features, which is a bit corny, features I guess this appreciation society of this group who loves the film, going to the different locations and reciting lines from the movie and all that. It's just it's kind of those things. I don't know. It's I guess, if you really like the movie, it's for you, but for me, I don't know. It just comes off as, again, a bit corny. But hey, what are you gonna do? And then there are two adaptations there's a section called Listening to Britain, and it features a video installation called Listen to Britain, which was done in 2001 by a guy named Victor Bergen. And I guess he was inspired by a documentary made in the 1942 by a guy named Humphrey Jennings called Listen to Britain. And the original Listen to Britain just was a 18-minute piece featuring just scenes of wartime Britain, just like with little to no dialogue. There's some singing, no narration, just a bunch of scenes of Britain, just living, women in, factories, soldiers singing songs, and all that stuff. So, yeah. So, anyway, Bergen did a 7-minute video piece featuring a shot of Sheila Sim, Allison, looking up, this famous scene where she looks up at I think she hears the bells of the Canterbury church, I think, ringing, and she looks up, and so he keeps looping this with shots of the forest and words appearing on the screen with new dialogue, with certain songs and all that, hymns and all that, and so it's supposed to run as a continuous on a continuous loop, like a video installation. So on the DVD, it keeps looping and looping and looping until you go back to hit the menu button. So yeah, so it's a little weird. I was like, wait, I realized wait, this is looping again. I noticed the little time track thing at the bottom of the screen saying, oh well, okay. So yeah, so that's all there is. Canterbury Tale, A-. Interesting supplements, pretty cool movie. What do you know? There you are. Powell and Pressburger. Not our last one. I think later this year we've got the 49th Parallel. I think that's one coming up, and then in the near future we'll get to a Matter of Life and Death. So Powell and Pressburger are not leaving us just yet. Stay tuned. So that's it for this week. Next week we got the moral tales. We got Eric Romer. I hope I like these because again, I like the concept. Just like Mr. Arcade, and I like the book, the idea of a book, and all these little short films or some short film. There's 2 short films and then 4 films. So what I think we're going to do is, I think we are going to do is, I didn't even prepare the covers here. Let me go and take care of this here real quick, because I need y'all seeing my name and all that. So, Sunday will be a twofer. Because of the short length of the movies, I think what we're going to do is this Sunday, we're going to do both The Bakery Girl of Monco and Suzanne's Career, which are both considered short films, even though Suzanne's Career is 55 minutes, and I mean, by that point, that's short for a movie back in the 60s in the U.S., but at the same time, you know, back in the 30s, that was a movie. 55 minutes was a movie, you know, not a short. So anyway, yeah, so that'll be, so Sunday we'll do both The Bakery Girl Monco and Suzanne's Career, and then Monday we'll do My Night at Maud's, and then Tuesday, La Collectionneuse, Wednesday, Claire's Knee, and Monday, and then and then Thursday, Love in the Afternoon. So there's that. And yeah, that'll be for the week dedicated to that. And I went ahead and ordered the next couple. I'm trying to remember what Kicking and Screaming, Seduced and Abandoned, The Spirit of the Beehive, Jigoku, and Solo con tu pareja. So yeah, those are coming, and they'll be on their way before you know it. So anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. Don't pour glue into women's hair, and that's basically it. So anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week for the 6 Moral Tales. And until then, goodbye.